Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. Today I bring in Keith O'Brien. Now with Keith, I've known him for a little while. He has started a service called I Love to Review, which you guys may remember, which then went through a phase of closing down in, I think it was 2016. It was that October when there's a big change in the TOS. I'm going to let Keith take up the story. Obviously, a lot of things have changed today, but it's a really interesting story out going from a situation where you're in a difficult place to then turning things around. So, and being reviews are a big thing on Amazon. I just wanted to get a few more insights from Keith. So, Keith, welcome today. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me, Danny.
No worries. So, let's start off with, do you want to let the audience know a bit about yourself?
Sure. So I guess I've been around sales and marketing for most of my adult life. I've, entrepreneur by nature, started my first business when I was 20, and have been pretty much on that entrepreneurial journey ever since. I met my current business partner in, I think, 1996. A gentleman by the name of Adam Hudson. He actually started I Love to Review. I came in and partnered into it a couple months after the startup. Yeah. So I ended up being taken over as CEO of that company in April of 2015.
Okay, so let's just set the scene. Let's talk about that back then. Like they called it the gold rush, late 14, early 15 is like where kind of the whole, in brackets, Amazon FBA really started to take off. Did it take hold? And there seemed to be like a lot of businesses and services started to build around that. And not only that, you could literally throw a product at Amazon and it would just stick, couldn't it, back then?
Yeah, I mean, it was certainly in a lot of ways a lot easier back then. We were driving 300 reviews to a brand new product in a week, 2 weeks. Yeah.
So, I mean, by today's standards, that's quite a lot of review depending on your velocity, and would be considered black hat. But obviously, back then it was all within the terms of service for so anyone who's listening to shows got started late. I mean, it was very easy to, ask for what was the terminology? I can't remember now. It was always asked for
it was an unbiased review in exchange for your product. And it was, we really looked at the Vine program, which was only available to 1P sellers.
Yeah.
And was very expensive. It was like $2,500. And, we were on the 3P side and said, so we really modeled after that Vine program and said, how do we create a service that will facilitate this for sellers? Because even though it was legal and within terms of service, it was still kind of hard. It took a lot of time as the average seller to chase down all these people and all this stuff. So that's what we did. And, we always said we're going to play it totally by the book. So if Amazon said, we look at what you're doing, they'd at least have appreciation for it. But
yeah, I mean, how did that compare to something like Amstracker? Because you were able to kind of scan and pick through people's, someone joins like the review club, you look at their history, are they going to be suitable? In some cases, are they likely to leave a bad review? Like if you've got someone who's got like loads of 3 stars, it's not someone who's going to be necessarily going to be suitable for you back then. So how did your system work? Because yours was a bit more white glove, wasn't it? It's a little bit VIP club type of thing.
It was. So we, first of all, we talked to our clients, right? So I think we were the one company in the space that a seller could actually call up and have a conversation with someone. So we became a bit more of a strategic partner for clients. But on the service side, we actually, there was a fence that no one you couldn't talk to reviewers, you couldn't pick them, you couldn't select them. We just thought that was all very, very much in the gray area, if not right over into the black area. So we really focused on, we didn't really know that we were doing it, but we kind of created like this learning-based algorithm for our reviewers. We put them through a process that took them like a couple of months to kind of get through this, the paces we put reviewers through. And we just based it all on what Amazon said they wanted on a review. We were the first to start scanning reviews for word count and for leaving the disclosure that they're required to leave. So we put all these things, we built them into the system. And then reviewers that didn't do per the standards, we just removed out of our system over time. but we never got involved with influencing the review, star count, any of that stuff, nor did we let our clients do it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So walk me back. So taking a trip down memory lane, some good, some bad. I mean, as a business, it kind of took off like a rocket ship for you, didn't it? In and
Yeah,
around that time, it was in correlation with everyone else doing, going out and getting reviews and obviously doing giveaways and ranking their products, etc.
exactly. I mean, Adam bootstrapped the company. Once we kind of got in the flow in 2015, we had month over month growth. And, when the TOS hit in early October, we were generating 25 to 30,000 reviews a month for sellers all over the world. And we had gotten it down to really a bit of a science. We had like between 90 and 95% follow through to review from the unit given away. So while we were more expensive on the outset, the end of the day, like if you look back over what it cost you with product out in the community, we were actually really competitive. And because our review count and follow through rate was so much higher.
Yeah.
But so we had just come off like back to back best months, and then the TOS change. Yeah, that was like,
it started with TechCrunch, didn't it? I think it was October 2nd or 3rd or 4th. Can't remember the exact date.
Yeah, October 6th.
6th, sorry. Yeah.
I think that's burned in my head forever, Danny.
I'm not surprised. So with that in mind, if you don't mind sharing a little bit, I mean, what were you going through at that time, like with the fallout? How did it kind of unfold for you? Because obviously the TechCrunch article drops. Then obviously Amazon reacts to that because that literally went viral, didn't it? So give me a bit of a timeline, what happened in and around that period.
Yeah. So, Amazon started communicating with us, and once we verified that it was actually them, we started really kind of having back and forth communications. And at the end of the day, we felt that the TOS, the changes were very clear. Whenever they posted something in the past, there were 2 or 3 big updates in the 2 years that company ran that had to do in some way with reviews or coupon codes or whatnot. And we were always very, tried to be thoughtful on how we responded to it. We never wanted to do it. We would never do anything that would put an account at risk because it's just not, the short-term gain just isn't worth it, So we really looked at where they were going, what they said they did not allow anymore, and ultimately, Danny, that our company name was I Love to Review. So whether that was the best choice or not, who knows? But we didn't feel
it wasn't AMS or Zon, was it? But
correct. Yeah,
there's a lot of those out there. Yeah.
We did feel that there wasn't really a way forward after the update. So, literally, I'll remember we were due to go on a webinar with CPC Strategy and a bunch of the other providers. And, we decided a couple hours before the webinar that we were going to shut down I Love to Review and relaunch on a new company.
Yeah.
So I actually let everyone know on that webinar. About 2,000 people were registered, and we decided to move forward in a different direction.
So with that in mind, obviously it's a tough one because obviously it's almost like, for a better word of it, you remember a few years before that when they used to have all like the games on Facebook, and that was a big business, but you're sitting on someone else's platform. It's difficult with Amazon's with the change, like the terms of service and stuff, because you can build a great business, but then suddenly they make a change. And like for you, for that niche that you're in, that stops everything you're doing. So what did you do after in terms of diversification?
Well, it was a tough time. I mean, it's again, we had just had back to back best months, and a lot of our clients, Danny, would purchase campaigns and packages.
Yeah.
And so we were sitting on a lot of client money that had pre-bought this service that we were no longer delivering. Fortunately, we had really nice client relationships, some of which had gone back from 2 years.
Yeah.
And, some of us there was a lot of different response to that, right? Some of them contacted and said, look, I can't even imagine what you guys are going through right now. Tell me you're doing something next. Hold on to our funds, and whatever you're doing next, we're in, right? I mean, we had helped people make a lot of money in 2 years, right? Others, understandably just said, hey, we'll take our money back now. So it was a tough time. I mean, I personally hit refund on, I don't know, just a bit over 100 grand
Wow.
over the course of 3 months.
Yeah.
But we knew we were going to be in the industry, for a long time. And so we just felt it was the right thing to do.
Mm.
People's memories of really good things,
Yeah.
tend to go away pretty quick, but bad stuff they remember forever. Right.
Exactly.
So
That burns in people's minds, doesn't it? So basically,
yeah,
see what was going on is like, look, I'm here for the long term. It's not a short term gain. Pay everyone out, make sure everyone's happy, because one, is the right thing to do, and two, you want to get back in the game. You want to put yourself on the even footing, because if you ever need to reach out for people for help and stuff, the help's there. I mean, I've seen people literally set fire to themselves in this industry. Like, it's crazy, some of the shit that they've done, and literally blew themselves up. It was like bad PR 101. But
right.
it's key. If if you're decent people, you give that money back, etc. That
Yeah.
allows you to see in another day.
Yeah. I'm 100% clear that if we don't handle that in a similar fashion to that, what we did, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
Yeah, no, exactly. I wouldn't invite you on the show.
Yeah.
So moving forward, so we've gone through that tough time, had some learnings there. Where are you at today? What did you build next?
Yeah, so we actually started two companies off of that. One immediately called Market Hustle, and then the second called Seller Photo. So Market Hustle was listing optimization, some promotional campaign management, and then Seller Photo was the creative side, product photography,
Mm.
A-plus design, infographics, things like that. And then about earlier this year in 2019, I think in May, we rolled them both up into the agency Page One.
Yeah.
So we had extended the services a bit. So now Page One is a full service agency. We do the individualized services like photography and design and listing optimization, content optimization. We added an ad management team, so we do PPC management,
Yeah.
and then about 4 months ago we added a division to do full brand management. So we do the whole account management for Amazon.
Excellent. So from that, you've redeveloped and gone into areas where you're not going to hit the snag with TOS. It's like developers and stuff. I've got friends who create little plugins, and they'll do really well, and then suddenly Amazon changes the TOS, and boom, that's like it's gone. But you've gone for more of for a better word, like a steady Eddie approach. So it's a much more clearer in terms of the services. So tell me a bit more about the photography services, because sometimes that's difficult to scale them kind of businesses when you get a lot of input.
It is. I think, I mean, look, if we were to sit here between the two of us, we've both been around the industry for a while. All right, name the top 3 US based e-commerce photography companies there are. Like, that would be hard to do, right? Yeah. And it's not because there's not enough business. It's just it's a very challenging business to run and scale. So we have a full team here. We have 2 studios, full-time photographers, full-time lead graphic designers and retouchers, production managers, studio assistants. It's a big staff on that side of the team. But we really try to look at photography around from an optimization standpoint, around buyer psychology and what's going to really, because listing optimization is all about getting someone to your listing. Photography is all about 2 things, engaging them long enough to make a decision, and then really trying to tell the entire story within the images.
Yeah.
So, when that average lazy customer scrolls down the 7 images, they have enough info to go back over and click add to cart.
Yeah.
And so, we do take some time. We have client meetings with every client. You really understand their brand. And it's a full business. So, we're doing some in the studio, we're doing some on location. We have models, pets, kids. I mean, we've done shoots with RVs. I mean, we've done shoots with horses. I mean, it's a little nuts, but it's fun.
Yeah, I was going to say it's like it depends on like the lifestyle shots you want. We know like to do proper production and bring in models and stuff and coordination for the day. It's not cheap, is it? I mean, do you do any like 3D modeling? I know that you're not meant to on Amazon, but some
Yeah.
of the like the output engines on these 3D modeling now and the skill set of these 3D modeling designers is just phenomenal. And it's barely can. I mean, you see the cheap ones on Fiverr, and you spot
Sure.
them a mile off, because the rendering's really bad. But do you do any 3D imagery stuff as well?
Yeah, we don't. I mean, again, I think once you've danced with the TOS crackdown, you want to
Yeah,
stay in the lane. That's not going to
yeah,
take your business away. So that we've just chosen not to. So, um, and it's also very like that is a very difficult thing to staff, right?
yeah,
So, I mean, we've gone through testing of dozens of designers and retouchers just this year.
yeah,
And that retouching, which is very similar whether you're using a real photo or you're
yeah,
rendering it into an image, it's a very, very specific skill set, and to find people that are great at it
yeah,
is not easy.
yeah. It's tough. It is
Yeah,
tough. There's not many of them about that, that want to be on staff or whatever. There's a few freelancers out there that
100%.
I know, but a lot of the stuff, like I get people send me images and say, Dan, what do you think? And I'm like, where did you get it done? And it's like, oh, on Fiverr. I said, like, it just doesn't look real. Does that make sense?
Well,
Because they're kind
yeah,
of,
it
yeah,
does. It's just what's funny to me is like, you get a business person that they've spent, let's say, 6 months
mm,
and 10 grand sourcing a product, right?
yeah,
And then they get down to the right before the starting line, and they've got optimization, photography, all the setup to do, and now they start getting cheap,
yeah,
right? So a great photography stack's going to last you for years.
yeah,
And if you amortize that over your unit sales over the first year, it's okay to drop some coin on it, because your ads are going to perform better,
mm,
you're going to convert better, and at some level, it insulates you. You start building a little bit of your moat from the competition, because
yeah.
that's what we all look at. We're like, hey, their photos are shit, so let's get after it and see, we can take them out because we can do a better job.
Yeah, write a better listing, provide better
Yeah,
images, higher quality product, etc. Yeah,
100%.
yeah. Cool. Well, look, is there anything you want to cover before we go?
Look, I think what I really loved about, I heard I've listened to a lot of the Stellar sessions, and I really love getting into the real story behind the story, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot about this industry that's laptop lifestyle, and go live in Bali or Chiang Mai, and
Mm,
you've got this wonderful life, and there's certainly a lot of truth to that. I have a lot of friends that are
yeah.
doing that, but the reality is it's the business isn't easy.
No.
And whether you're a service provider or you're a seller or both, you've got real challenges as an entrepreneur. And I think that largely how well you do as a long-term business person is at some level indicative of how well you manage the up and downs and the emotional highs and lows and the challenges that are thrown at you throughout this business.
Yeah.
um, we have a client, we just had to pull their second best-selling product 2 days before
Mm,
Turkey 5, right?
yeah.
It just had to be done, and it
Mm,
sucks. But,
yeah.
the reality is we bounce back. You have some
Mm,
grit, you have some tenacity. And, if you really focus on long-term from the beginning, and surround yourself with some good people that you can bounce some things off of, hopefully you navigate the course and you end up on the other side really well.
exactly. So what's the best way people can reach you if they've got any questions, maybe want to use your services, etc.?
Best is just straight up at the site. It's page.one. So that's not .com, but it's page.one.
Yeah.
If you just Googled, I think we come up first or second. So that's the best place to start. Or personally, if they want to reach out, they can do it on LinkedIn.
Okay, cool. And that's just Keith O'Brien on LinkedIn, yeah?
I believe so. Maybe Keith B. O'Brien.
Okay, sounds good. Keith, look, it's been wonderful. Thank you for coming in today and sharing the background, etc. Guys, thank you for joining us. If this is your first time, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you again in the next few days. Take care.